Welcome to the Emerald Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Chrissy Doyle, and on this podcast I speak to different Irish athletes about their highs, their lows, biggest battles, biggest successes, and why they fell in love with their sport.
In this episode I chat to footballer Abbie Brophy. We chat about her recent amazing goal, her time playing with Bows, Wexford and DLR Waves, women in sport, Hyrox and so much more. Let's get to it. Abbie Brophy.
Abbie, how are you? You're very welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Christopher. I'm great. Yeah, I'm delighted to be here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely great to have you on. And I just actually caught, I think it was yesterday, did you score a screamer the other day? Did I see that? An unbelievable goal. I thought I caught that.
Yeah, I did. I scored. I wouldn't score very often, so I always kind of get a little bit shocked when the ball goes in the back of the net. So yeah, I was happy out. So we drew to Cork last weekend. So yeah, I was happy to get on the score sheet.
Yeah, no, it was a great goal because I actually seen it went a little bit viral as well. I saw people sharing it, and I said, I know Abbie's going up here, so I better mention to you when you're on here as well.
I appreciate that.
And that's a recent enough move for you as well, is it? To the DLR Waves, is it? Is that a new enough move club-wise?
Yeah, I would have last summer. Yeah, I would have moved last summer in the transfer window from Wexford. So yeah, it was just a move that I suppose I had a bit going on in my personal life, and I felt that I just kind of needed to be a bit closer to home. The travel to Carlow 2 times a week and then to Wexford or wherever we were playing, it just was just a bit much. But I loved my time at Wexford. The girls were great and I loved the club. It just, unfortunately, I just needed to be a little bit closer to home.
Yeah, and you know, it's another thing too for people travelling. Like, obviously you have to train a couple of times a week and play games, and the kind of travel is expected, but that's a lot of time with work and stuff as well that you have to kind of go and do. And you know, it's definitely not easy. What would your training schedule be like, Abbie?
So we'd usually train usually every second Monday, and then it's a Tuesday, Thursday, and then a match on a Saturday. So yeah, it's quite full on, which is great. And I know a lot of the other teams in the league would probably train 2 to 3 times a week. So yeah, it's great. I love it. Each session is always different, and I like being around the girls and being around the squad. So I like the 2 or 3 times a week training.
Yeah, and I know you like to do some gym work and stuff as well. Because I know I was listening to David Nolan there has done some recent research into the differences in S&C for lads and women. What would your S&C, I suppose, look like and stuff to kind of look after yourself around playing as well?
Yeah, we have an S&C coach in with us as well, which is great, and her name's Leisha Trainer. I suppose we do that very sport specific on the pitch, but I suppose my own stuff, I suppose it's easier for me because I work in a gym and I work coaching people, whether it's one-on-one or in a group setting. So I'm in that environment. So I think I just manage my load in relation to my strength training, whether it's my squats or my bench or my deadlift or my running or whatever. I just manage the load that I'm facilitating and enhancing my performance on and off the pitch, but also not, I suppose, fatiguing and overloading my body. So there is a balance, and I think it works differently for everyone. How I train and how I recover is going to be different to how other girls on my team will train and recover. So it's just very relative to the person.
Yeah, it's very person specific, because I do hear these mad rumours, and I think it was the Tyrone GA team a long time ago, or even TJ Reid, and they do a gym session the night before, and some are even doing it the morning before a game, and I'm like, how do you do that? How do you get away with it? You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be the morning of. I don't know. I don't know the logic and the reason behind that, but no, it wouldn't be me.
Yeah, no, it definitely wouldn't be me either. My legs would be so stiff and kind of heavy that I wouldn't be able to move. Pointless passing me the ball. And tell me, Abbie, how did you get involved in sport when you were younger? Did you go a little bit with GA, or was it always soccer when you were growing up and that you got involved with sport?
It was always soccer. I never got into GAA. I never had a GAA maybe family or a background in GAA. I don't have any siblings, so my mom and my dad, they were never sports, like never soccer or pitch, like whether it's Gaelic or hurling or camogie. They were never into any of that. My dad was a golfer and a musician, and my mom was a swimmer. But I had a lot of boy cousins when I was younger, and we used to go into my auntie and uncle's back garden and just play football, kick the ball around. So that's kind of really how I got into it. And like a lot of players or a lot of girls my age or older, we all started, or maybe a lot of us would have started with a boys team. So I started playing with a boys team underage, and that's when I played for a girls team. I ended up going to Shelburne for my underage career. So yeah, I just started off playing with boys and then transitioning to a girls team.
Yeah, it's unreal to think of that kind of transformation now, because if you're even thinking about any young girl going to play on a team, like there doesn't seem to be a mention now of even going in with the boys team. Like all the girls kind of have their teams now, and it's just great to see it come from that, where you're in with a boys team. Look, in ways it probably stood to you, but it's great to see that there's so many women now playing, that they're all kind of playing with their own teams and making their friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. I think, I remember like when I first joined, I think I was like, I'm going to say 5 or 6. Like there was no other girl on the team. And yeah, like it does stand to you, don't get me wrong. But it's nice that like having, like if I was younger now, I would have liked to have maybe other girl friends that would have played on the team with me to like have that, like I suppose, unity as well. But no, definitely playing with the boys did stand to me. But yeah, I think it's great that there's so many underage girls now and like working up the ranks, and a lot of them are now transitioning from like underage into like being in with the senior teams. Like yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great step forward. And Abbie, if you had some, I suppose, advice, or a young girl was listening and wanted to kind of keep in with sport or even get started, even soccer, and let's say they looked up to the likes of yourself, what advice would you give them? Because in a way, some girls there is like a trend sometimes that they kind of break away maybe from the sport, or it can be difficult. Is there any advice you give them to kind of keep going with it, or any to start off?
I just think, like it's always, like starting something new is always daunting, whether it's starting a new job, different school, a different sports team, going to a different gym. Like anything new is always scary, but I think it's like going into that kind of like little bit uncomfortable zone of like a little bit of fear, a little bit of like nerves, a bit of excitement. Like I think it's overcoming that and just like keep going, keep showing up, because there's been days or seasons or years that I've not enjoyed football and not enjoyed the sport or wherever, and I'm like I wanted to pack it in, or you think that little like slope or whatever is not going to end, but it's overcoming those kind of hard times and uncomfortable times, and it's like, okay, I endured that, I was able to get out of that rut myself, and now look where I am, or look who I've made friends with, or people I've met, or things I've accomplished. So I think definitely I know it's not easy, but it's overcoming that little maybe uncomfortable space, or that initial, I don't know if I like this, or I'm a bit nervous to go, a bit nervous, don't like that first session I went to. It's just overcoming that, and if you really enjoy it, you'll continue on with it, even through the bad times. I think that's a big thing that I wish maybe someone had said to me when I was younger, and maybe was kind of him and hawing of why I wanted to stay or wanted to leave.
Yeah, and I'd say the influences, I think, are huge as well, and even the coach or the trainer. But I think it's great now, even with Sky Sports, like people, or even RT, you can see Megan Connolly or Katie McCabe on the TV, and you can actually say the names, because to be fair, I would say 5 years ago, if you'd asked me, I probably wouldn't be able to name a name, but now I can, because it's just in front of me, I can see it. So that's obviously the same for a lot of young girls as well, because they just wouldn't have seen it before.
Yeah, 100%. And even, I don't know if you'd seen the match of the weekend. It was in the All-Ireland Cup with Bows and Wexford, and it was on TG Carr. And like even me watching that on my TV, and obviously like those two teams are in my league, and I played with Wexford, I played with Bows, so I would have known a lot of the girls. Even the fact that that's broadcast on TG Carr is amazing. So like definitely things are going in the right direction in relation to like just getting us out there and getting female athletes out there, and then the younger generations can go to these games or watch these games on TV, and it's just it's definitely going in the right direction.
Yeah, I was absolutely delighted because I'm from Wexford myself. I don't know whether you knew that beforehand, so I was delighted with that result.
Oh no way! Brilliant.
Yeah, no, so I was delighted. Yeah.
Oh,
so
I love that.
yeah, no, so it was a great result. Yeah, and even like TG Carr as well. Like I'm all about that. If it can't be on RT1 or RT2, I'm always thinking like we have TG Carr as well. Just play it and just show it as well. So yeah, no, it was absolutely great.
Absolutely.
Abbie, something I wanted to talk to you about as well, because I know obviously you've done so well in soccer and you have your gym going as well. You've done some Hyroxes as well, I see. How's that going for you?
Yeah, it's going good. I just got back. Well, not got back. Probably at the end of middle of June. I was in Chicago for the World Championships with the girl that I do with, who's also my best friend, Amy, and I work with her. So I did like a doubles with her at Chicago, which was an amazing experience because that, I suppose, is like the biggest competition of Hyrox. So that was a great experience. But yeah, I have a few at the end of the year. So I have another doubles with Amy, so the same girl that I would have done it with. I have a mixed doubles with my manager, Carl, so that'll be a male and female. And then I'm actually doing my first pro singles in London in December. So the first two are in November and then in December, so it thankfully doesn't clash with football season. But yeah, so it's going great, and it's something I enjoy. It's not something I guess I'm looking at making a career out of or making a living out of. It's like football. It's like something I really enjoy. I put the time and effort into it, and yeah, at the moment it's going well. So it's just something new, I guess.
Yeah, I'm interested myself because I've done one. I'm looking to do another one at the moment. So I've done a solo and I'm going to do another one. And well, how did you find the doubles in comparison? Because I haven't done one yet. Is it nice having kind of a partner with you to go along and do it all, or what's it like?
Yeah, I think definitely. Like I've done a relay. I did a relay, was my very first one in 2023. But then obviously going from a relay to a doubles, the workload is a lot more. But I love doing a doubles because, in fairness, myself and Amy, we partner really well and we pair really well together. And it's just, I like having, maybe this is me coming from a team sport, I like having someone there. I like having a teammate or a partner in that moment to get me through the dark times, to keep pushing me on. So I suppose I can ask you a reverse question. What do you think of a singles? Because I've yet to do one, so I'm quite interested what it's like.
I would say it's quite daunting, but I would say kind of once you get into the training, knowing that you're doing it on your own, and then the day is just special, I think you just kind of get into the mode for it, and I actually think it's fine. But obviously the trainings are tough, and I had friends who were doing doubles at the same time, and I just know I have to kind of push it harder because you're kind of all on your own. But I think once you're used to training on your own and doing the stuff on your own, you're kind of in the mindset then on the day that it's just me, but I know what to do, that kind of way, if you get me.
Yeah, no, I get you. Where did you do yours?
I went to, it was actually in Sharjah, so it was handy. It was just a half an hour, 45 minutes up the road from myself here in Dubai. So, yeah, so it was good. Actually, the heat here is actually great to train, but I'm going to Gdansk in October, and I'm already kind of worried about how cold it's going to be because it's just going to be a huge change. Yeah, so
Yeah, it is. The weather makes, or the climate makes a huge difference if you're used to maybe colder weather than to more warmer weather or hotter weather. It's definitely a factor that you got to put into play when you are competing.
Absolutely, yeah, no, geez, because it's just different because the humidity and just the rate you're doing stuff and your heart rate going
Yeah,
up and down, it just all kind of, it all kind of plays a part, you know what I mean?
yeah, 100%.
And Abby, if you had to, because I'm not claiming to be expert here now, I'm more pushing the expertise and the Hyrox on yourself. What tips would you have for someone who was going to start or do a Hyrox, just even based on your experience? What would be your top tips, I suppose?
I suppose like, and like, don't get me wrong, I'm no expert either. I'm still learning every time I do it, and I guess yeah, learning learning from training. Like I definitely think having like a nice base of training. So like for me, I was very lucky, with my background in maybe football. It gave me a nice like build, like a foundation of aerobic capacity. So like I wasn't necessarily new to running, but maybe I just needed to build up more mileage in my legs rather than short, sharp sprints like I would in football. So running is like definitely maybe a big thing that people are a bit like not too comfortable with, and that's just someone that needs to start where they want to start, and like start with their own. Could be literally not even a kilometer of running. They could run for a minute. They could run for 5K. They could run for whatever. Like it's whatever that suits them. There's no pressure for them to go out and run 8 or 10K or whatever it may be. I think definitely it's doing it at your own standard and your own pacing, because no one is ever going to pressure you. I think definitely it's don't feel pressure to jump the gun and go straight into a Hyrox simulation or a Hyrox, booking a Hyrox and doing it or whatever. I think it's going at your own pacing. And then I suppose like my strength training really helped me. So like my core movements, my back squat, my bench press, my deadlift, my front squat, like a lot of my compound lifts and my strength training background helped me in relation to the sled work, the lunges, the wall balls, like certain movements helped me. So I think definitely just get into the gym in general and like start, like build yourself in. You don't need to go from 0 to 100 straight away. It's just naturally enjoying the process of running or strength training or getting on the row or ski, like just actually just getting a feel for what you're going to be doing rather than, oh God, I have to do this. I need to go 100 miles an hour. So definitely it's like enjoying the process, and yeah, it's not thinking you need to go from 0 to 100 straight away.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm just thinking of what you said there. If you pick up one of the wall balls or the medicine balls and you say, I'm going to do 100 of these, or you say to yourself, I'm going to run 8K, you'll get a fright very, very quick if you start at that kind of rate.
Exactly.
And how do you find, because I know it would have been an intense level with soccer as well, how did you find the intensity difference with Hyrox? Which do you find more, or are they just completely different, or which one would you find more intense?
They are like, I know like I had said that like I got a good aerobic base from football. But yeah, they probably would be different and as intense in their own way. Like matches, it really depends. Like if we are maybe chasing the game a little bit and we don't have a lot of possession in the game, and we're maybe running a lot more in relation to like either staying compact or maybe pressing quite aggressively, like it's a lot more running, whereas in some games you find that you're more in control of the game, you've more possession. I'm not running as frantically, I suppose. So every game is different. So that's probably something a little bit different from Hyrox. Whereas in Hyrox, I suppose again, it can be very much controlled by my effort. So again, if I manage my pacing on the runs a little bit more, I'm more settled, I'm not as frantic. Or if I manage even when I'm training, like I can manage my perceived effort a lot more. Maybe if I were doing a solo Hyrox. I'm more accountable for myself. So in a game, a scenario, I can't go out into a pitch and be like, okay, this is exactly what I'm going to do today. This is exactly how the game is going to plan out. It could go completely the opposite way. So they're both very intense in their own ways, but they do complement each other. I haven't found really this year or even last year that I've been extremely maybe sore, or I have like delayed muscle soreness as such from one or the other. And if that is the case, where I just need to manage my recovery, my sleep, my nutrition, maybe a little bit better. But it's never a case where I'm finding they're clashing heads and I need to completely alter my training. I think I have definitely found a nice happy medium at the moment.
Yeah, and that's a really good place to be, because especially if you're doing the soccer, and all that training, the gym, looking after yourself, and then you're doing, the Hyroxes as well, and they're very intense. It's kind of it's a lot of going on the body, and as you say, kind of the sleep and nutrition is really important. And if you were going to advise, Abbie, I know your body, is different to other people's bodies as well, but what do you kind of prioritise maybe recovery-wise for yourself to make sure you're kind of sharp to keep going at the rate you're going with all the stuff?
Yeah, I suppose don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect with this. There's some weeks where I know I've probably overtrained or overloaded my body, and like I work a good couple of early mornings, so I'd probably be up at like 5 a.m. And some nights I don't sleep the best. I'm either like tossing and turning, or I find I can't get into like deep or REM sleep, and I can't control that sometimes. Like if I go to bed at 9 o'clock, I might not fall asleep until 11 or half 11. It just depends on how my brain works. So I do try to prioritise like my sleep, especially when I'm up early. I'll try get naps in if I absolutely can during the day or before training. I think it definitely does help. And then I suppose like food is a big thing. It's like, am I eating enough to facilitate recovery? So if I had a heavy strength session or a heavy running session at training, am I fueling my body enough? Am I getting enough protein in? Am I getting enough carbs in? Or did I eat enough carbs prior to that to fuel my session? And then I suppose after Chicago, I remember after myself and Amy competed, we went into the recovery boots area, or the compression boots. And I remember they made my legs feel so good afterwards. I said to myself, I'm going to buy a pair. So I ended up buying a pair. I think Pulsio was the website or the brand. And I use them quite frequently, actually. I find it really comfortable on my legs and I feel great afterwards. So little things like that, or it could be a sauna session. Little things like that I'd probably try add in during the week just to enhance my recovery as best as I can. And obviously water. And I take a lot of electrolytes to replenish the salts that I would be sweating out my sessions. So like these are little things that I can definitely control, whereas probably sleep, sometimes I find it hard to control that if I don't get a good night's sleep.
Yeah, I can I definitely kind of relate to you in some way. I don't know whether it's exactly the same way, but I put my head on the pillow and I try and conquer the world, and the next minute I know it's 2.5, as you would say, 3 hours past, and I'm still there wide awake, and it's just, I don't know why, but it's torture. So I can definitely relate to you on that one. I haven't heard many people, I have seen them before and people use them, but the compression boots are really interesting because it's the type of thing I would always see, but it's something I would never kind of go for. And would you just like use that after a tough session, or would you just would you use it regularly now, the fact that you're after getting them?
After maybe, I suppose, like after training, for example, like I don't finish training till 8:30 and I don't get home till 9:15. So I probably by the time I shower, eat, it's nearly close to 10, 10:15. I probably wouldn't use them then because I'm nearly at the point where I'm I need to just get to sleep. But say if an evening, tonight, I've no training, so when I'm probably done this call, I will use them. Or a Friday night before a match, I usually would use them, or maybe a Saturday night after my game, or a Sunday I usually go for a long run, or like a smooth steady run on a Sunday. I might use them after, so I probably go for at least 3 times a week, just when I can properly get the whatever 20-30 minutes in, rather than me rushing, or if I don't actually have time to actually do them, I'd rather relax, watch TV or whatever if there's a match on, and I'll use the boots then. So I try to actually put quality time into the recovery rather than a tick the box kind of job.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because I think I heard Larry Doyle say before, sometimes it's like maybe instead of doing the full recovery, it's like putting a band-aid on a massive wound. It's not going to have any, it's not going to do anything for you, but it's kind of doing the bro science Instagram what you see, instead of doing the real kind of quality recovery that you actually need. So I totally understand you.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
On that front. Abbie, I wanted to ask you as well, because I'm always intrigued. I know I mentioned some of the girls across the water as well. When you were growing up, was there anybody you kind of looked up to, even on a team or anything like that you thought, they were kind of maybe an inspiration for you, or someone you looked up to that you wanted to kind of idolise or, follow after?
In maybe like outside of the female environment for a second, I probably like a lot of, like when I obviously growing up with boys, my family or my extended family are all Liverpool fans, so I suppose I would have a lot, like Steven Gerrard at the time would have been a huge person there. Messi, I don't think anyone can fault. Like I always loved how maybe passionate they were about the game. More so, I was like, because I'm not the greatest skillful player, never was, but like I was like, I loved the commitment and like passion that they gave for the game. And then maybe going into the women's side, then I would have, like when I was younger, like I remember this one time, and like it's mad looking back at it now. I suppose I was with Shelburne underage, and Raheny United were still a team, and I remember when before Shells and Raheny merged, we did like this kind of like this, it wasn't hell and back, it was more like an obstacle course in an army setting, I'm guessing, but we're like climbing walls and all that stuff and whatever. But I remember Katie McCabe was there, because she was still Raheny at the time and she was merging with Shells, and like I was in this like team bonding session with the likes of Katie McCabe, and I remember like she was obviously still a rising star, and I'm like, now looking at her now, playing for Arsenal, captaining Ireland, like a full-time footballer, I'm like, that's what you want to be. Like I'd love like to be in that position. So I suppose, yeah, like on a male aspect it would be like Steven Gerrard or Messi, and then yeah, like I think Katie, what she's doing is great. And even all the girls like Denise O'Sullivan, watching those kind of players, and even the younger girls that are younger than me, like you see like Abbie Larkin coming through, like it's just fantastic to see these girls I probably would have played against. Like I played against Abbie when she played with Chels. Like it's just, yeah, it's great that now seeing where they're at in the UK or the States and then representing our country is just, yeah, it's really, really nice to watch and support.
Yeah, and it's great. And I think that, as I said before, and we were talking about, it really shows the development from, obviously not wrong, but you following Steven Gerrard, let's say Lionel Messi, and then the girl influences coming in as well. It's a great mixture of, role models to kind of follow behind, and support, which is great. And Abbie, and I knew this well, you've played against those players. I know you're very happy at the moment, especially with your goal the other day, even though you tell me it's not something you do very often. Have you still aspirations to maybe, move on to try and get to the UK and abroad and build up? Or are you just very happy with what you're doing at the moment and how things are going?
Look, don't get me wrong. It's not that I have no faith in myself. That's not it at all. I'm 26, so I'm kind of thinking like physically, I'm at maybe nearly my best in relation to like fitness levels and strength and shape. So I'd like to think, okay, I still have another 8-9 years, maybe more, of like of playing football. I definitely do think I need to continue developing as a player. I need to maybe read the game better. Like, I definitely have things I want to maybe work on personally, but like, if it's a case where a year's time a UK team approaches me, or like, I'm not going to shut that door. I would love that opportunity. It's just, I feel like, yeah, maybe there's the standards of like where I'm at and where maybe I would like to be, and there's still a bit to go. So I'm not closing that door, but I know, like, if I want it, it needs to be, I need to put that work in on and off the pitch that bit more. But yeah, definitely, I think that should be, like, it's been a dream of mine for so long, is playing abroad or going to the UK, or like, I'm at the highest level in Ireland, which is brilliant, and I'm delighted for that. But yeah, I think definitely the door is never, it's not going to be shut, but I need to definitely put the work in to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure, you know, you are working hard, and, you know, you will be working hard. And I think that's a really positive way to look at it. You're happy and playing the best. You feel the best in what you're playing now. And then if the opportunity comes along, you will take it. But it's very interesting. I had Garrett Farley on the podcast, and it kind of gave me more respect for those going abroad, because even if you're good enough, the whole idea of moving abroad from your family and trying to settle in England and get everything sorted, I kind of thought it was like a dream come true, everything is fine, but it actually seems like that in itself is just such a challenge. Football even aside, it's just unreal.
100%. Like, I know, like, don't get me wrong, sometimes it doesn't work out for players, like, whether it's here, whether it's abroad, whether it is, like, I can only imagine you're leaving your home, you're like your family, I suppose, to go into this new environment. But it's like what we said earlier, these are those uncomfortable and like scary and nervy things that it maybe, like, you put yourself out there, and you tried and it worked out well for you, and that's amazing. And then on the other hand, it's like, you tried, maybe it wasn't the right thing for you, but you did your best to step out of that uncomfortable zone. So yeah, it just depends whether it works out for some players or for not. But yeah, you have to applaud them, because I think I would definitely maybe struggle with moving abroad and moving to a different team, because I'm very, at the moment, settled in my life. So yeah, you got to applaud those people that have that drive and ambition just to go and do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, yeah.
It's a big step for anyone that does it. Abbie, I wanted to ask you as well, because I've asked a few people this, and I'm always interested. I'm aware I'm putting you on the spot a bit with this, and sometimes it's hard to think off the spot because you'd have so many great memories. But if you're thinking sporting memory wise, you know, you've been with Bowes, you know, you talked about Wexford there and DLR Waves as well, and, you know, throughout sport, is there any really fun memory you have that just kind of sticks out, and, you know, it's kind of like, that's a really good sporting memory for me?
I've probably like a handful, but maybe probably the best one for me was, it was my last season with Bowes, so it would have been 2022. I finished up with them. I was confident, I was in good form, I was scoring, which was obviously, and I ended up being like top goal scorer for Bowes that season. So I was on a really good run, and I was enjoying the girls, the environment, and I ended up getting a call up for the home base squad, which again, that was obviously for players in the league that were brought in by Vera Powell at the time, the Irish manager. So like, I think that was one of the best things, because I felt like accomplished. I felt I earned my spot there in relation to being invited to that training session. I remember I was on Dublin bus, and I never take the bus really. I'm not great with public transport, but I remember I was on Dublin bus, and my manager rang me, and he said, like, you've been invited into the home base squad. And I remember it was just, I was over the moon with that. And I remember even going there, we got like the Irish training kit, like GPS trackers, and it was just like a really amazing experience. So yeah, I definitely think that was one of my highlights of my football career. I suppose just getting noticed and getting acknowledged for good performance, and I think the league definitely does that. It acknowledges good performances, hard work, like from players, that they get that spotlight, like the fact that they do goal of the month or players of the month. Like it's just I think it's really great every month or every week, the team of the week, that you're acknowledging the players and managers hard work, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and you know, I really like that too, because you know yourself in sport, it can be cruel. You might not play good every week, so if you have a fantastic week, it's really nice to get that acknowledgement, and the same for teams as well, because it's really difficult, you know, to get a certain standard and play well each week. What was it like going into that squad? How did you find the training and stuff like that? Could you notice like it was more intense straight away, and that it was just, you said GPS trackers there, and you know the kit? Could you tell straight away, wow, this is like a really, you know, top professional, like this is it?
I liked the way everything was kind of like laid out for us. Like our gear was there. Like obviously they didn't know my sizing at the time, so I had to get sizing for gear, whatever. But yeah, like from the minute I kind of got there, like I was with other girls from the league that I probably wouldn't have chatted to initially, but I got chatting to. So it's like, it's also making like friends in that moment. And yeah, the training was sharp. We did like small side games, and then we did a big 11v11. And yeah, like the standard is great because you're playing with players that maybe aren't on your team. So a lot of the girls wouldn't have been on my team, or a few of them would have been on my team. And you're just playing with different players, and you're seeing quality from those players that you wouldn't see because you don't train with them week in, week out. And yeah, it was just a great environment, and obviously getting to chat to the likes of Vera at that time and getting advice and stuff like that from the other coaching staff. Like it was great. It was such a really enjoyable experience that I'll remember for probably forever, realistically. So I can only imagine what like actually being on the Irish team and the Irish setup is like. I'd say it's amazing. Or yeah, so it was great.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a fantastic experience. And did you notice that like Vera in herself, obviously she's done really well, was like outstanding in what she was doing too, just like even not tactics but even working with people and stuff like that? Did you notice that straight away when you got to kind of work with her?
I wasn't chatting to her for ages, but yeah, I could see like it's just a different dynamic and a different way of coaching, I guess, and how every coach you meet is going to have a different style, a different view, a different vision. So it's always like, obviously I've had a good couple of managers across the years that I've been playing, and yeah, it's just another coach that I was kind of taking information from and watching how she is with other players. And then now with obviously Laura at DLR, how she does it with her players, and Sean with Bowes, and I had Steve and Hugh with Wexford. So it's nice to get a different perspective from every coach that I've been under, and how they view the pitch and how they view their sessions and how they undergo. So yeah, it's great to get, I think, bits of information from every environment that you're in, whether it's in sport or whether it's in your job. It's just learning and getting different information off, I suppose, Remy role models, or yeah, people maybe a step above you, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And even for you to come together with those great players that were chosen and, as you said, acknowledged from the league, like, it is unreal too, because you're just playing with such great players, and as you said, you were meeting them and introduce yourself and all. So like, that's great, like as you said, to get that opportunity to do that as well. Abbie, I just want to say to you one last question for you, because I've asked people on the podcast before, and I'm always very intrigued. Who was the best player that you think you've ever played with? So someone maybe you've looked up to, you've played with, and thought, you know, really happy I played with that player, or had kind of great chemistry with the player.
Oh wow, that's a really tough question.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot again, but it always intrigues me to see
Yeah,
who.
that's
It always intrigues me.
I suppose maybe for someone that I look up to, I think Kylie Murphy, who captains Wexford, is fantastic. From the moment I went to Wexford to obviously when I left, like, she was just an amazing person, a captain. Like, she just takes charge of the team so well. And yeah, I think she made my experience at Wexford really, really enjoyable. The whole team did. And then I suppose Ellen Malloy, she would have been a player that when I was with maybe Bowes the time, and even watching her now, and I'm playing Wexford this weekend, she's just phenomenal. I just think she's so crafty, and you give her an inch of space and she'll pull out a worldie of a goal. Like, she scored a great goal against Bowes the weekend. So, like, she's a really creative player, and I really enjoyed sharing the pitch for her as well. But, like, there's so many good players in the league that you can't even begin to name them all. Like,
Yeah.
I think the league from, like, I'm there, like, maybe since, like, 2019. I was with Kilkenny, and obviously there's players that were there before me. Like, the league is getting so competitive. It's great because you don't know what you're getting into any game. So I think, yeah, like, you can't, there's so many good players on every team. So yeah, it's just, every time I kind of go out and play now, I think I'm just like, it should be a privilege that I play here, and I get to play against these players and play with these players in these stadiums or whatever. And yeah, I just think I need to maybe actually acknowledge and enjoy it a lot more and be in the moment rather than stressing so much prior to the game or reflecting too much after the game and beating myself up or getting too frustrated. I'm like, I think it needs to be acknowledged that, yeah, we should enjoy and take it all in a bit more. But yeah, definitely, to sum up on that long question, yeah, Kylie and Ellen, and like, yeah, like so many of the girls in Wexford, but yeah, a lot of them would have made my experience a lot more enjoyable at Wexford.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So I know that was a really long answer.
Okay, but I know you're putting on the spot on the spot as well to think. But I do always recognise that there's lots of people you play with that, you know, just come into your head, like the girls have there, that just had an influence on you. You know, made you feel really welcome, and you know, as you said, they were crafty as well. You know, and really good players. So there's always kind of going to be influences, but it's great to hear as well from someone that's playing that you're actually thinking here, these girls are so good, I have to be at the top of my game because the quality is, you know, so high. That's always kind of great to hear, that, you know, the boost in quality is so good that you're kind of making sure I have to be at it here because the girls I'm up against are really, really good, you know.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's great.
Abbie, thanks very much for coming on to the podcast. It was absolutely great to chat to you. I am going to call you out as well because after you told me about after I said to you after the goal you've scored, you just casually dropped in that you'd been top scorer for the Bows as well. So it always amazes me how modest people can be. You know, it's great when we're talking about other people, but how modest we could be about ourselves. But you know, I wish you all the best. All the best for the coming year, and you're definitely inspiring young girls to go and play, so please keep it up, and I wish you the best luck for the year.
Thank you very much, Christopher, for having me, and yeah, it's been great, so thank you so much, and I hope you have a nice evening as well.
Thank you. See you, Abbie.
Thanks for listening to the Emerald Athlete podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to leave a review, and don't forget to check out our Instagram page, the Emerald Athlete Podcast.